We have major breaking news coming out of AT&T. Article comes to you guys from Reuters. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. AT&T in talks to buy Lumen's consumer fiber unit, Bloomberg News reports. So I have many thoughts going through my mind right now. You guys are catching my live reaction on this. This is a huge play and a huge move, strategic move by AT&T. But what I will add to this, in the current climate, right, under the Trump administration, a lot of articles and a lot of speculation has been coming out that M&A is favored under a more business-oriented administration. And we've come to know that the Republican administrations favor merger and acquisition, right? There's still some merger and acquisitions that don't get passed or get blocked, but it's a lot less than under a Democratic administration. Well, each of the carriers have been strengthening their balance sheet. Verizon has been strengthening theirs by pulling the pricing lever. AT&T has done it, and T-Mobile is now also doing it for also this type of competition, right? The carriers are trying to beat each other to these types of deals. AT&T, right, I'm just putting it out there, AT&T may have wanted Frontier, but Verizon beat them to Frontier. T-Mobile may have wanted Lumen, but AT&T beat T-Mobile to Lumen's consumer fiber unit. So what I will briefly add into this video, the fiber market just got a lot smaller for T-Mobile in regards of gaining any meaningful scale, like making a bigger purchase on the fiber side that has meaningful scale. That just got a lot smaller. And I know this is in talks, right? But again, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So this is already in the final stages, and it's going to be announced officially soon, right? It's going to have to go through the regulatory and all bodies and all that stuff, but it will get announced soon, right? So this deal is expected to cost around $5.5 billion, so a very cost-effective deal for AT&T to get an entire fiber unit, consumer fiber unit for $5 billion. That's got to be cheaper than deploying it natively, right? So that's I applaud AT&T for that. That's a great move. Should have been T-Mobile, right? We already see the scale that AT&T possesses today natively, and we see the scale that Verizon will own after they get Frontier. So it should have been T-Mobile if they want to go into the fiber space, but like I said, it's getting a lot smaller, and like I said in the previous video, T-Mobile will more than likely have to go after cable. That's probably anything scaled and meaningful for T-Mobile. It's got to be cable. Has to be. That has to be their end game, in my opinion. Has to be cable now. Lumen was another bigger competitor that they could have gotten. They didn't go for it. Lumos and the MetroNet deals are not really that meaningful. If we're talking about scaled competition, they're meaningful to T-Mobile because they're getting their feet wet and they're driving more revenue that way. But it's not really something that's going to make you say, whoa, T-Mobile now has 30% of the country covered with consumer fiber, right? That's not what those deals are. So we'll talk more about this in a longer video, but this is big major news out of AT&T. They're still on the M&A, going big. They're going to buy Lumen. They're not going to, AT&T knows how to own and operate, so they're not leasing. This is not one of those deals where they're going to buy back and lease back. No, they're buying that entire operation, and they're going to own and operate it because they know how to do it. They've been doing it for decades, so this is not going to change anything, right? They're going to own and operate that unit. You guys can see in talks to acquire Lumen Technologies consumer fiber operation in a deal that could value the unit at more than $5.5 billion. Shares of Lumen were down more than 12% after the report. So again, the market is moving. AT&T is buying. Verizon is going to strike first with the Frontier deal. That's a big one. But this is also a decent sized deal that I feel T-Mobile should have probably gotten. But again, if everybody is strengthening their balance sheet, they're going to beat each other to these types of deals. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.